What if the beer you're drinking right now contains pesticide residue, synthetic chemicals, and ingredients most people have never even heard of? Most Americans believe beer is simple, just water, barley, hops, and yeast. But the truth is, many of the biggest beer brands on store shelves today are made with GMO grains, industrial additives, artificial extracts, and even traces of herbicides used in agriculture. In this video, we're exposing 6 beer brands you may want to avoid immediately. From hidden ingredients and chemical stabilizers to controversial farming chemicals, what you're about to hear might completely change the way you look at your next six-pack. But stick with me until the end, because after revealing the worst offenders, I'll also show you 4 beer brands that are actually brewed clean, using real ingredients and traditional methods. Let's open the truth and separate real beer from chemical cocktails. Worst beer brands. Number 6. Bud Light. Starting our list is Bud Light, one of the most widely consumed beers in the United States. Despite its massive popularity, the ingredient profile raises several concerns among beer purists and health-conscious consumers. Bud Light relies heavily on rice and corn syrup during fermentation, rather than relying entirely on traditional barley malt. While the company states that most of the sugar is converted during fermentation, critics argue that the use of GMO corn derivatives introduces industrial agriculture into a beverage that historically required only simple ingredients. The beer also uses hop extract rather than whole hops, which removes many of the natural compounds that provide aroma, flavor, and potential antioxidant benefits in traditionally brewed beer. Independent testing has also reported trace levels of glyphosate, a controversial herbicide widely used in conventional grain farming. With around 110 calories per can, Bud Light achieves its light profile mostly through heavy processing and ingredient manipulation, rather than through simple brewing techniques. For critics of industrial brewing, Bud Light represents the shift from traditional craftsmanship towards highly engineered beverages designed for mass production. Number 5. Corona Extra. Corona Extra has built a powerful global brand around beach culture, sunshine, and the famous lime wedge. However, behind the tropical image lies a beer that has raised several questions about ingredient sourcing and production methods. Corona relies on corn syrup as a fermentation sugar, something that traditional brewing never required. While much of it is converted during fermentation, the reliance on corn ingredients introduces the same GMO agricultural concerns seen in other large-scale beers. Another issue is Corona's clear glass bottle, which allows ultraviolet light to penetrate the beer. This exposure quickly degrades hop compounds and creates the well-known skunky flavor associated with light-struck beer. To maintain flavor stability during long shipping periods from Mexico to international markets, manufacturers often rely on processing techniques and stabilizers that traditional breweries never needed. Laboratory testing has also detected glyphosate residues in some samples of mass-produced beers, including Corona. At 148 calories per can, with roughly 14 grams of carbohydrates, the beer delivers mostly empty calories derived from corn sugars and alcohol. For critics of industrial brewing, Corona completely undermines its relaxing image when examined more closely. Number 4. Miller Lite. Miller Lite helped pioneer the light beer category in the 1970s, but the brewing shortcuts required to maintain that ultra-light profile have been widely criticized. The beer relies heavily on corn syrup and corn-derived fermentable sugars, reducing the proportion of traditional barley malt used in brewing. Instead of whole hops, Miller Lite uses hop extracts, which isolate specific bitter compounds while removing the natural oils and aromatic compounds found in real hops. The brewing process also includes industrial enzymes designed to break down carbohydrates into fermentable sugars, creating the dry, light finish the brand is known for. Independent studies analyzing large-scale commercial beers have reported glyphosate contamination linked to conventional grain farming practices. At 96 calories per can, Miller Lite achieves its low-calorie status primarily through heavy processing and ingredient manipulation, rather than through simple brewing techniques.
For critics of industrial brewing, Miller Lite represents the shift from traditional craftsmanship toward highly engineered beverages designed for mass production. 3. Stella Artois. Stella Artois promotes itself as a premium European lager with centuries of brewing heritage. However, modern mass production has introduced several ingredients and processes that critics argue conflict with that traditional image. Testing has revealed glyphosate contamination in barley used for brewing, reflecting the widespread use of herbicides in conventional agriculture. The beer also incorporates adjunct grains, such as corn or rice, to reduce costs and maintain consistency across large production volumes. Another controversial ingredient, sometimes associated with large-scale lagers, is Class 4 caramel coloring, which can form the compound 4-methyl-imidazole during production. This compound has been studied in laboratory settings for potential carcinogenic effects at high exposure levels. Stella Artois also uses isinglass, a clarifying agent derived from fish bladders. While technically natural, many consumers are unaware that animal products are used during the filtration process. For a beer marketed as sophisticated and traditional, critics argue that these industrial methods reveal a very different story behind the label. 2. Heineken. Heineken's green bottle and global reputation have made it one of the most recognizable beers in the world, but the brand's massive international distribution requires brewing methods designed for long shelf life and global shipping, which can introduce additional processing steps. The green bottle itself allows light to pass through the glass, which can degrade hop compounds and produce the well-known skunky aroma. To maintain consistent flavor across global markets, manufacturers rely on stabilization techniques and careful processing. Laboratory studies examining large commercial beers have also detected glyphosate residues which originate from the agricultural practices used to grow barley and other brewing grains. Despite its premium reputation, critics argue that Heineken still relies on industrial-scale brewing practices that differ significantly from traditional small-batch beer production. Number 1. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Taking the number 1 spot on our list is Pabst Blue Ribbon, commonly known as PBR. In recent years, the beer has gained popularity among younger drinkers who see it as an affordable and nostalgic brand. However, the brewing formula relies heavily on corn and corn-derived sugars rather than traditional barley malt, making it one of the most corn-dependent beers on the American market. Instead of whole hops, the beer uses hop extracts, removing many of the natural compounds that provide complexity and potential antioxidant properties. Independent testing examining popular beer brands has also detected glyphosate contamination in several large-scale beers, including PBR. At 144 calories per can with over 12 grams of carbohydrates, the beer delivers mostly empty calories derived from corn sugars and alcohol. For critics of industrial brewing, PBR represents the extreme end of cost-cutting ingredients and large-scale manufacturing practices, earning it the top spot on this list.
The clean beer brands. Now for the good news. Not all beer is brewed this way. These breweries prove that beer can still be made with real ingredients and traditional methods. 4. Samuel Smith's Organic Ale. Samuel Smith's Brewery in Yorkshire, England, has been brewing beer since 1758. Their organic ales contain just 4 ingredients: organic barley, organic hops, water, yeast. The brewery is certified by the UK Soil Association, meaning no GMOs, no synthetic pesticides, and no chemical shortcuts. They still ferment in traditional Yorkshire stone squares, a method abandoned by most modern breweries because it's too labor-intensive. The result is beer made the old-fashioned way. 3. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Sierra Nevada helped launch the American craft beer revolution. Their famous pale ale uses only barley malt, hops, water, and yeast, with a heavy emphasis on whole cone hops, not extracts. The brewery is also known for environmental leadership, investing heavily in solar power, water recycling, and sustainable farming partnerships. Independent testing consistently shows extremely low contamination levels compared to mass-produced beers. 2. Allagash White. Allagash Brewing Company in Portland, Maine, produces one of America's most respected wheat beers. Allagash White uses malted barley, raw wheat, oats, hops, coriander, orange peel. Every flavor comes from real ingredients, not artificial additives. The beer is also bottle-conditioned, meaning it undergoes natural secondary fermentation instead of forced carbonation. Taking the top spot is Live Oak Hefeweizen from Austin, Texas. This beer follows the spirit of the Reinheitsgebot purity tradition, using only malted barley, malted wheat, hops, yeast, water. Live Oak even uses the ancient decoction mashing technique, a brewing technique that takes hours longer than modern shortcuts but creates incredibly complex flavor. Every batch is lagered for weeks, allowing the beer to mature naturally. No shortcuts, no additives, just real brewing. So, next time you reach for a beer, remember this. Some beers are built by brewers. Others are engineered by corporations. One is crafted with 4 honest ingredients. The other is built with industrial shortcuts, additives, and marketing. The choice is yours. Drink smarter, drink cleaner, and most importantly, know what's really in your glass. If this video opened your eyes, subscribe for more deep dives exposing the truth behind everyday products, because sometimes the things we trust the most deserve the closest look.